Okay, so we will call this meeting to order.
You're so rude.
At 5, not sure if my watch is right or not. Let's look at the clock here. My clock says 5:33 p.m. on the
So 3 minutes.
phone, if that is
So
correct.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. It has to be a fashionably late entrance. So,
Yeah, okay, fine. Boy, Judy.
So the meeting has been called to order, and before we get to our regular business tonight, I would like to call on Bill Van Horn. Bill is going to be giving you an update from the Appalachian Trail Committee. As many of you may or may not know, the April Fools Trail Days has been reworked from a one-day event to a multi-week event, actually.
Great.
With, I believe, Bill, you have, if I'm remembering correctly, different activities over a period of about 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
Yeah. So he's going to get, instead of stealing his thunder, I will let him do the update on that for you. Thank you, Bill.
We're moving here.
Yes, sir. Anything else that I may hand out for you?
We're moving in the right direction.
All right.
But we're moving. Okay, well, I know most of you, and I appreciate.
Thank you for sitting with me. No one else.
Yeah, it's not a problem. And I appreciate the time to come here and give you a little update on Franklin Appalachian Trail Community Council. I briefed the TDA maybe a month, 6 weeks ago, and I will be briefing the TDC maybe next week or the 4th or whatever at the chamber, just to give them an update, because people change that are on these very important groups, boards, whatever, and we've changed. The AT Community Council has changed. What I handed out is kind of a fact sheet. Appalachian Trail Community Program, designed to recognize those towns along the trail. There are 35 right now, soon to be 36. The 26th of this month, the Fontana Dam will become the 36th community to be designated from Georgia to Maine.
Cool.
Obviously, the intent of the program has always been to seek the mutual benefit of the trail and the local community, the town. Of course, to us, primarily that means economics, people coming into town, tourists, hikers, whatever. I think we should all be very proud. Franklin was the first officially designated Appalachian Trail community.
But through a lot of your hard work.
Well, I'm just one of many people.
I know.
I've listed here the mission. We want to inform the local people. We still got some locals that don't understand the AT is 11 miles outside of town. We want the locals to understand what a great natural resource it is, and we want young entrepreneurs to understand they could probably make a living off that trail somehow. Franklin has always been hiker-friendly. We've worked on making Franklin even more hiker-friendly to understand what hikers and those folks that, whether they hike the trail for a day or 6 months, what they want. We in the committee or the council want to see Franklin take advantage of the Appalachian Trail to improve the economic situation and make sure our local folks get out on the trail from a health benefit, whether it be mental health or physical health. As a council, we worked on our vision. At sort of the bottom of the page, some of our accomplishments. Now, obviously, with the loss of the Main Street program coordinator, we had to, do things a little bit different. Okay, we had to get maybe a little bit more organized, whatever. But we obviously miss Linda and all that she did. But we elected officers. We defined our mission. We looked at our vision. We did a little bit of strategic planning. We set some priorities, near term, intermediate, and long term. We added new committee members. As we looked at our organization, we always had a town alderman, but Bob Scott became the mayor, so we wanted to get an altar person, so Patty Abel agreed to join us. We've got Gary Shields now as the county commissioner. We've added new business, Lazy Hiker Brewing Company, and the Friends of the Greenway is on our council now. We drafted our bylaws. That's still a bit of work in progress, but we're at about a 95% solution. One of the big things we did, which we'd always done, we updated the guidebooks that hikers use so they know what's in Franklin, what the services are. And a big thing this year, we coordinated with Macon County Transit, and they looked at what it would take to run a shuttle from Winding Stair Gap down to that gazebo, the town square. And they had to submit a permit to do that with the U.S. Forest Service and a little bit of red tape and all that, but it's all, as far as I know, it looks like it's all said and done. They're running shuttles. They're doing it twice a day. Basically, they'll be picking hikers up at 10 o'clock and then 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that helps the Nantahala Hiking Club, which was doing a volunteer shuttle. That helps some of the other local businesses in town that were providing local shuttles. And so I think that's a good thing. In working with the Forest Service, we got 2 brand new kiosks up, both AT North and AT South at Winding Stair Gap. Knowing that we would have to use social media more than we did in the past, we created our own Facebook page. And with Tony's help, we updated, modified a little bit our website so that it's got the current information on it. What I handed out, that little flyer, is a listing of the events, the major events that are current. And one of the things we decided to do, the council decided, was instead of focusing on just one weekend, we said, well, you know, weather can be iffy, so we're calling it an AT celebration period. And we're loosely doing it from the first day of spring until Earth Day. So we're looking at about a month there. Franklin, and somebody may remember, we were designated in 2005. It was a 5-year partnership agreement, so the 5 years is up. Our council worked on what's called an assessment. ATC wanted us, the Appalachian Trail Conservancy wanted us to do an assessment of where we are, where we're going. So the council worked on that. We'll be turning that in. And I talked a little bit about the festival, the changes that we went through. It's got the dates, several events, both profit and non-profit, and the Franklin AT Community Council is, looking to support and coordinate and advertise the best we can all the events that are taking place. The near-term actions, I mentioned about the partnership renewal. ATC is concerned, that's probably a pretty hefty word, but ATC is concerned about the increase in traffic on the trail, primarily due to 2 movies. The Wild, which was Strahan. Reese Witherspoon. Thank you. Barbara Strahan, was the real one, I think. Okay. So the movie Wild, walked the Pacific Crest Trail, and then we have Bill Bryson's book, made into a movie, Robert Redford, Nick Nolte, due out this summer. When the book came out, the traffic on the trail increased 60%. Wow. When the book came out. And it never really went down. It went up, but it didn't kind of stay. So the conservancy that manages the Appalachian Trail in coordination with the Appalachian Trail Park offices is very concerned about 2 things primarily. We got the increased people, which will either be a detriment to the resource or it's going to change the hiker's experience of solitude. So they're looking at a number of strategies to kind of soften that blow. In the near term, 2 other programs that came, or 2 other opportunities that came from the other A couple of other AT communities was one which is called a virtual AT walk program. Basically, you form teams and you virtually walk the AT from Georgia to Maine. Unicoi County in Tennessee did this. A team of 8 people. It was over an 8-week period. So the Natahale Hiking Club presented that to the Healthy Carolinian Committee that looks at obesity and gave them that information, and they're taking a look at it. We thought it'd be great if the Healthy Carolinian Obesity Committee would orchestrate that to loosely occur during the AT celebration period. The second item, again, another idea that came from 3 libraries further up the trail, was a library backpack program. The intent here being is that there would be a day pack with a few of the items that you need to hike on the trail and some reference materials, maps, guidebooks, that type sort of thing, would be at the library, and you check it out like a book. Karen Wallace and the library have been a great supporter of the AT Community Council. I thought this was a great idea. We brought up about 2 months ago, we knew we would need money to make this happen. Well, we were lucky, right place, right time. We have now a senior from NC State. She had an academic scholarship. She has to do community service. She found out about this, and she's running with it. And by the end of the week, more or less, we're going to have 6 or 8 backpacks at the library, ready to sign up. We want to look to continue to improve the trailheads, and we would like to pursue getting some wayfinding signage, so as people come to Franklin, in Franklin, there'll be some nice signs that says the Appalachian Trail is like 11 miles that way, and we can guide them to it. Mid and far term, you kind of look down through that. We felt we needed to do a better job of keeping the county commissioners updated on what we're doing, make sure they don't forget what a great resource the AT is for them and the county. When we did the assessment, an area in which hikers that come into town, if they wanted to camp as opposed to stay in a motel or a hostel, if they were just in for a day but didn't stay overnight, a place where they could get showers, and then the idea about AT signage at the wayfinding signage and at the trailheads. Support that we would ask, our council would ask you to consider. We're kind of all in this together, whether it's the TDA, TDC, Main Street, our council, the Historic Foundation, we're all trying to do the right thing and promote Franklin. But we hope that this group, where you are today and whatever you might become, would look to support our mission and vision, help us publicize the different events that are ongoing, and that when you have actions, you kind of know what we're doing. If we can help you, we're all moving in the same direction. And then, the position of Linda, Linda Schlo, I'll just say the position, we're suffering. We're all volunteers, not unlike yourselves, doing stuff that, we had a paid person, expert, interfield doing that, and it's really been a problem. And I think the Folk Festival, and we've all read the papers, I think that's a prime example. So that's got to be looked at, and I'm hoping that together we're going to find an answer for a paid person that part of their time is involved in promoting Franklin as tourism. And the last item is, we understand that the town only has so much money, and that together we ought to look at a funding source to support business area improvements. Whether it be sidewalks or signage or more lights or better parking, I don't care. I talked to a local business person yesterday. Every dollar they spend or every dollar they take in, 2 3/4 cents go to the county, right? We pay 6 3/4% tax, right? Well, county, okay. And there's a way, as you probably know, that we could raise that from 6 3/4 to 7%. Maybe that quarter comes back to the town of Franklin, you know. So anyway, throw that out. We know we got problems, and we're all here to work together.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I can tell you that your items are already on the Main Street website. I put a link there to the new site, by the way, is Franklin singular, correct? FranklinTrailDays.com.
That's right. Yep.
Instead of April Fool's Trail Days. And there's a link on there from the Main Street site. And I've also put, I believe I put, I was trying to remember now. I think I put a generalized thing there that gave the start date and the end date on the calendar of events. And then there's another link from that page, from the events page, that will take you straight back to the Franklin Trail Days site. So you have some online coverage there, and you'll get that on the Main Street Facebook page too.
Sure. So, at the bottom of the sheet here, I put down the contacts. We have an executive committee, and you'll see the folks that are on that. I handed this out to you, and what the council is going to do probably by the end of the week, early next week, we're going to print a bunch of these. On the back side, which I didn't print, will be all the events that are occurring at the library in what the library calls their Walking with Spring program. A lot of different activities related to hiking in the outdoors at this time of year. And then our intent is that the council will write up a little letter, and we're going to take the letter and some of these and reach out to the merchants primarily on the Main Street. And we will ask them to take these and hand them out, talk to the customers when they come in. And also for those of you that have been on Main Street in the past 2 years, the council has asked the Main Street merchants to consider decorating their window with some kind of hiker theme or outdoor theme or something like that.
And I have you an email list that I can send you to blast that out to the downtown.
Well, actually, that's fine, Tony. But a couple of us are gonna walk around and shake hands and do that type of thing. So just yeah. So just wanted you to know, as merchants, that we're gonna do that. We're gonna ask for the individual merchants' support and help in getting the information out and consider decorating their store window. So
perfect.
Thanks, Bill.
Good job, man. Y'all have any questions
If I don't know the answer, I will get the answer.
I thought you were saying I don't know the answer before we even asked.
No, I'll get you the answer.
You have this many people in the community. How many people you actually have working there?
We have, I think there's 15 when to have a quorum to vote and all that. And I mean, they're all, they're all doing something to help.
Great.
We have one of our members from church started the trail, John Mitchell, and he will be walking the hunt and the trail. And I am pledging money for cameras.
Very good. Yeah, there are several people that hike the trail and attempt to do fundraising off the trail.
I know where it starts, and I've been at the end, but I haven't walked it.
That's at least a start.
There's about 2,200 miles just waiting for you.
I do think that some of the actions that the council has highlighted about the signage and the kiosk are important things we ought to think about as we go forward, because the trail is important to the town, and this time of year when hundreds of hikers are coming off, it's especially important, and it would be, I think, just a nice thing to add. So I think that ought to be something we take into account.
I was thinking of one thing too, that with the hikers that we saw in Damascus was the fact that the grocery stores had a section for hikers. So they didn't have to walk over the store. And it was really convenient. They walked in the store and they knew all their stuff was right there. Yeah. I think that's something that maybe.
And as I recall, that's come up before, that idea. So when they walk in the silo, they're like, oh, I
Yeah,
guess.
or
They
You
don't
know
have
how
to.
you feel when you walk in a grocery store new and you don't.
Yeah, they've walked enough. You know, they don't want to walk any more than that.
So if it's all like this, and maybe add something still. I'm sure they'd be willing to do that.
Well, I happened to be crossing Winding Stair Gap this morning about 10 o'clock, and there was at least a van full of folks. It was very good.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that is great.
Any other questions for Bill or comments? Well, thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you. I may stick around until my stomach starts growling, then I'll leave.
That is perfectly fine. You're always
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you, sir. All right. Next on our agenda tonight, you do not have any minutes to approve this evening. The next item on our agenda is board discussion on the Franklin Main Street program. And I'm going to defer to Summer Woodard, Town of Franklin Manager, for that portion of your meeting.
Yes, I just wanted to bring the board up to date. The board has received 4 resignations from Bo Bryant, Janice Cummings, Jane Hopper, and Tommy Jenkins. If the board would acknowledge that, I wanted to bring that to your attention, and I'll turn it back over to you guys.
Okay.
Do we need to do anything
We
formal?
need to accept, we have to accept the resignation.
It's actually not officially in your bylaws to accept that, but I think it would be a nice idea that you formally acknowledge
Clean it up.
and accept their resignations.
I move that we accept their resignations.
Second. And Judy seconded. All in favor, make it be known by the raising of your right hand. Thank you kindly. It's unanimous. Are you taking those back there? 'Cause, okay, I was taking some too, and I'm like having trouble multitasking tonight. Summer, if you'd like to go ahead now.
And this just opens up to the board for discussion on how as the board you'd like to move forward with this program.
Well, I guess I've been here longer than anybody, but I started with when I was elected an alderman, I started with the program. And that was, if you look where we started and where we've come, we've done a real lot of positive things. But I think where we are now, and I'm a firm believer that any program that you have to stop and take a deep breath, look at where you are and where you really want to go. And I think that I'd like to hear from the other members, but I feel like that that we need, maybe I can see us not dissolving the program, but maybe, I guess for lack of a better word, becoming inactive for a while. And then look at what we need and where we're going and see what everybody else wants to do. Because you can't do something halfway.
Other board members like to comment?
I was just going to say, Main Street started in 2005, and the accomplishments are unreal. When I came on board, I had no idea the background, the work, be it Linda and all of her volunteers, everybody who helped in the background of so many functions. It really was amazing, I think, and what we've seen happen. But I kind of agree with what Sissy's saying. I don't want to just start patching. If we put a Band-Aid here and a Band-Aid here and say we're fixing what we've got going on here, I think it is a time to maybe step back and say, okay, let's go inactive or do whatever we have to do. I don't know how everybody else feels.
But, when Linda left, I think y'all appropriately said, let's take a step back and kind of get back to the basics for the program, and that's pretty hard to do on the fly, and I think that's even harder to do now after these resignations. So I guess piling on, I feel like it would be helpful to kind of take a step back and kind of regroup. I guess my concern is that there are a lot of activities that the Main Street program has taken a major role in, the festivals and other events downtown, and my only concern about saying that we're going to go inactive is to make sure that those are still going to be carried out. Is that something that the town can do with existing staff and volunteers? Because the festival is a pretty significant piece.
Yeah, and may I chime in?
Please, please.
Well, yes, I believe that's something the town should step up and look at, see what we can't do, because the town does realize that our festivals and our events, and the information, a prime example is on the ATC has done in the past just 6 months, the way all their accomplishments. The town would be willing, I mean, we can step up and make sure, because I mean, that's a vital aspect to the town of Franklin and the downtown area to make sure we continue these festivals and events. And I think that's something the town would definitely be willing to undertake to ensure the program and this board, if that's your desire to go inactive, that will step up and take those on in that place. I mean, it's crucial that those festivals and events continue.
They're economic drivers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and there's many people who will volunteer to be a coach in Main Street or whatever. There's people who are going to step in and help. So we're not going to let any of that go.
No.
Do y'all feel it differently?
Any opinions?
Please, comment.
This is my opinion of my opinion of I'm not a quitter. I have worked very hard to be a part of this town. Not always appreciated, and I understand that, but not everybody can be short like me, not everybody can be tall. We're all different. We have not been, by a lot of people that I know, not been taken seriously, or they think we don't know what we're doing. So by stopping this program for a while, putting it to sleep or whatever it is we're doing, I just don't want people to think that we just quit.
Okay.
We didn't quit. Like I told somebody not too long ago, I don't like being compared to a big town, because we are a little town. We're all little people working hard and doing what we can to survive. But when we're compared to a bigger town and we're told that we got to do more and we can't, because in a way we have wings, but they get clipped all the time. So that's how I look at it. So if we're not getting a lot of help from everybody that's saying that they will help, then I don't know when we start over, and if we start over, who's going to start over, or how we're going to go back and forth and try to do the right thing. That's what I'm concerned
There is a
about.
process if you go inactive instead of dissolving the program, which, of course, as your biggest proponent, I'm thankful you're not talking about dissolving.
Yeah.
There is a procedure. You can go inactive, and then once you feel like that you've had enough space in between to catch your breath, to do whatever, get your thoughts in place, to see how you want to proceed, then you can become active again. The Department of Urban Development has put into place some new rules, and there's a probationary period now. When a town comes on board, you receive necessary training, visits from the town, visits to the town from the state to help the new board, whoever they may be, if it's comprised of you folks sitting here with other members or whoever it may be. They in turn come and after you complete the necessary steps, then you become a full-blown Main Street program again. But what that ensures is that you're on firm footing from the get-go. You're not hanging out here, as Ms. Joyce said, with a Band-Aid here and a Band-Aid here and a Band-Aid there. You're on firm footing to start with. And that's the procedure. In a nutshell, that's the procedure.
Yeah,
It's much longer than that, but that's...
The important part, too, is to be able to explain to the town that anything that we do is not just us getting together here and doing it, oh, let's decide to do this. We have bylaws, and we have the Main Street program from the whole state telling us what to do, and many different occasions. So that's why we need the whole town to know that. It's not just us deciding what to do over here in this little group. We
Yes.
have to go and follow rules.
Right.
Let me say something what she said. Too, when we started this program, and Tony was part of it too then when we did it, and when a contract was signed, we had zero money. And we raised $157,000 right here in our town. And we're able to get the master plan. We're through phase 1 of that master plan and talking about sidewalks and everything that they're into phase 2 now. So that is something that that can go on. And a lot of the what you're talking about, I know the bill, for instance, sidewalks and beautification, several things like that are already in that, and we're in the second phase.
So it'll be ongoing.
And so this is something that's ongoing. I mean, it's not something that's going to, it's taken us all these years just to get where
Yeah,
that
so
is,
that's
to
why we
complete
like it,
phase
yeah.
1. And you just, it's something that you can't blink your eyes and it's going to happen overnight. It's a long process, but it's there. And we would not have had that if we hadn't gone out on a limb. And that $157,000 came from our community. The town, the county, businesses, banks, everybody pitched in and raised that money.
I guess the only other thing I want to add is, I mean, of the 5 of us here, I mean, Judy and I are pretty new to the board, and as I think y'all know, we're going to the Main Street
Yes.
conference.
Good.
And so, you know, I feel like we'll be a little bit better equipped to help get things back going after we've had a little
That'd be
more
good,
background
yeah.
in the Main Street program.
It's very informative.
And,
It's very
I
informative.
mean, right now, it's, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, you're clueless.
right.
It's
My
most
wife says that
beneficial.
Oh, really?
So it's,
But going back to the funding issue, and we don't have a financial report here tonight, I don't think, so I'm not sure what the funding is, but I do recall from the past reports that a pretty significant portion of the funds are, I don't know if they're restricted, but they're certainly line items for festivals. So if the town is going to pick that up, to pick up the festival coordination, does that money need to move back from our accounts? I don't know how those accounts are held. I don't know if they're in funds maintained by the town or if we're in separate accounts, but do we need to remit those festival and event funds back to the town of Franklin?
Handle this.
That would certainly help because separate from the Main Street 1,000 that is designated to festivals and events. So if it is the will of the board, that would certainly be appreciated and be very helpful as the town moves forward with the festivals and events portion of this.
Probably need to vote on that.
Well,
And
that makes
obviously going to
sense.
need the money, yeah.
Yeah, that makes some sense to me. I mean, I guess what I'd like is, you know, rather than say everything gets moved over, but at least those portions of the funds that are allocated.
Well, it's going to be for festivals and beautification and all the different things we need, you know.
Well, but to the extent anything can be left, you know,
Oh,
it
yeah,
would be.
so you're wanting to leave a little something in?
Yeah, so that
Okay.
when we
Okay.
get back going again.
I
that
see
would
what
be-
you're saying.
And,
Judy, we're ready, something
Speak.
profound.
Anybody?
Something profound, Judy.
I'm new.
I know,
I've been to
that's
one
what,
meeting
I know,
so
really.
far. And being new, I took the opportunity to look over some bylaws and some information, and it seems like a lot of the things that we discussed at the meeting, the one meeting I went to, wasn't really the things that the organization was created to handle. And so I do think it is an appropriate time to maybe get back to what the board needs to be about. And with Linda's resignation that Bill mentioned, perhaps once the town decides what they're going to do and has that in stone a little bit more, we will be able as a group to best figure out how to complement that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll move that we place the Main Street program in Franklin on inactive status, and that we return to the town of Franklin the balance of the remaining festival and event funds.
I second
And
So we
just for
have a-
clarification, that's suspending operations, it's not dissolving, but it's.
Correct. So we have a motion and a second.
I have
Any?
a question.
Yeah, I was going to ask for discussion. Yes.
Is that for a period of time, or is the period of time something that's addressed? I think we need to know more about the inactive status part and what you mentioned as far as when that would come back up.
Well, I mean,
Well, that's kind of an unknown at this point. But within a year?
Don't we need to
I
sit on that?
would assume that we would remain as a board, even though the programming is inactive, and that we would revive it when appropriate.
You can remain inactive as long as you want to. That's, I mean, it can be 6 months, it can be 6 years. And then when the time comes, you just submit a letter back to the state requesting that you be included back into the Main Street program and pay your national Main Street dues. You have to be part of the national
We have to
preservation.
keep paying them while we're inactive too, I would assume, to stay in it.
You probably, what is your, I don't know the,
Listen,
pardon me?
I can find out.
Yeah, but I would
Okay.
They have
just
to
assume.
pay for
I
this
would
year, I would
assume,
assume,
yeah, I
yeah.
would just assume that that's what, but yeah.
But I would assume that we would remain as a board, even though the organization
And
is
we
inactive. and that we
occasionally
would-
get together, start with ideas, when you guys come back with some of your feedback, you know?
And then we can, talk to the town again about budget. We can figure out if there's other funds that we can attract or.
Here's a suggestion. Why don't you put in your motion, can I legally do this?
You can request a friendly amendment, I guess.
Friendly
Okay.
amendment.
I just want to make sure that I'm
Okay.
getting everything right here. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've chaired something. Why don't you put in there a period of time when maybe that you all will just reconvene and consider the
I
idea?
would just leave, I mean, I think Ken's right, I'd just leave it.
I'll just leave it open?
Yeah, that way that doesn't hold their feet in.
What do you want to do,
And
evaluate it
my
quarterly?
question
You wanna
is not
Okay.
to have something in stone as far as this will be the period of time. My question is more to make sure that we're covered
That
for
there's
the
a
future.
procedure.
Does it
Yes.
have to be one of these 5 people that writes that letter? If
Right,
you
what's
move
what letter?
next week and
Right, what kind
the
of
letter
letter?
becomes
Oh, I
not
see.
inactive anymore.
Oh, I
I
see.
think we need to know what those procedures are and who needs,
Okay.
you need a
Well,
quorum vote, that type of thing.
the letter for your inactive status comes from either the mayor or from Summer,
Okay.
and it is sent to the town. When the time comes to become active again, the same letter will come from whoever the mayor is at that time. If it's still Mr. Bob, if it's 10 years from now that you all decide to come back on, or if it's 10 months from now, that letter will either come from Mayor Scott or from Summer, or whoever the town manager and or mayor may be at that
And there will
time.
always be a town manager or mayor, so if
Right.
we
That's
five
exactly
aren't.
right.
Yep, exactly. Well,
That's
because
right.
like you're thinking, you go out,
Just wanted to make
yeah,
sure.
she goes out, she rotates out.
I kind of see that as the formal procedure, but informally, I would hope that we would kind of evaluate it maybe quarterly. and-
Yeah, something, I think we need to touch
I
base.
would think so,
Yeah,
because time flies, and then next thing you know, something's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
done.
That
Okay,
answers my
you see.
question.
All right, answers your question. Any other discussion that you all may have? All right, so we have a motion from Ken, we have a second from Sissy. All in favor, signify with the raising of your right hand. Reluctantly, we have them all there. It's unanimous. Okay, all right. So, with that motion, the board has voted to go inactive. And again, let us stress that doesn't mean it's dissolving. That is two totally different things. Do we have any other discussion on that particular topic?
So could we, the only request I would make is that we all be on the same page as to what the financial status is, so that when whatever the current funds are.
What's the proper protocol? Will you get with Christine on that?
Yes, and I don't care to give an update, I'll be glad to get with her if that's what y'all would like.
Does the town board need to approve this, or how will they?
No, I don't think so, no. I'm pretty sure from my conversations I've had
Well,
with,
but that's what I don't understand about the answer to Judy's question, if it's a separate entity.
with my conversations with Liz over the years, I don't think that any action is,
Okay.
since you're, Your funding is of course, a different thing when you have to
That's
go to
right.
them to get approved. But
Right.
since you're a 501c3,
Right.
all we have to do is just make that one letter, or I said they have to do that one letter, and then that goes to them, and then when the program is ready to fly again, we send another letter, and then the ball gets to roll.
Okay, currently the funds, are the funds in a separate account?
Yes, sir.
It's a Main
And
Street
you're,
program.
and you're authorized to sign,
Yes.
who else is authorized to sign? Did the resignations clear
That's
out
what
some of
I'm
the other
trying to-
authorized signers?
That's
Yeah,
what
we're trying to find out who was.
Have you seen a treasurer?
Who's the authorized signer?
The only one.
What happened to the last treasurer's report, I guess, is the question too.
I think that was the meeting I was at with the flu in January.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
we
treasurer's
had a-
report, or just our minutes too. We don't have anything
Here's-
from the last.
here's my question
They're
about
asking
that.
kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
great.
I was
And
not
I know
doing,
Ken had-
all I was doing
yeah.
was the checkbook.
Right.
So,
And I know Ken was
Ken
doing it, and he
quit.
quit.
and,
So,
so I couldn't, I had no way of doing the spreadsheets and the stuff that he did for the town. So we talked about maybe I would get help doing that. In the meantime, all of these happened, so all I have is.
All we need is a balance, that's.
Well, I just want to make sure that there's somebody and a backup person that's authorized to
Right,
draw
absolutely.
funds on our
That's
account.
Yes.
If, you know,
Yeah.
So the other question I have too is if this is the bank account closed or there's a dollar there or how does that
Should
work?
leave something.
I
yeah,
think
but
we ought
that's
to
what
leave
Ken was
all the-
saying.
all
You
the-
leave some kind of funding, $1,000, something in there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't close
anything
it.
that's not
No.
No, I don't have,
non-festival,
I would do that, but
non-event
not
related,
that.
leave in.
So it's a question of what part of that money is going to be for all of the festivals and what part of it is going to be for the regular bills that we have, the Tyson.
And that's where I think you and I can get together.
Yeah, my recollection is there's some line items already dedicated to that, but I think we ought to have somebody designated as an alternate signer
Absolutely.
in the interim.
Sure, me too. on that
Yeah.
account.
Yeah. Whoever.
Yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
you good?
Ken, you want to do? Judy, you got too much on your.
You want to do it?
Someone will make a motion as for an alternate signer on the checking account.
I'll
I'll make a
yeah.
motion.
I second it.
A second,
Signer.
signer on our bank.
And who would that person be in that motion?
Well, Ken?
Any money more, we only have to
Yeah.
say people.
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
Okay. And if anybody runs into trouble, I mean, call somebody.
Yeah,
You know, we
yeah,
can
yeah.
get things changed around
Yeah.
it. You know, banks change people on accounts all the time, so.
Is there a second to that?
Yes,
motion?
I
Joyce
second.
has seconded. Do we have any discussion on this, on the checking account? Any further discussion?
No, I just think that we need to make sure that it's some and the majority goes to the festival.
And I think that'll be
Ken and I will
hammered
still
out
be
between you two,
signers.
right?
Ken and
Is that
you
what
won't,
you're saying?
Ken?
We still be
Okay, yeah,
signers
okay.
and still be turned over? Is that what we're saying? I want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Have you always had to have two signers on the check?
No.
So that's fine, he would just be the signer if something's wrong with you.
Your
Yeah.
account, Christine, would remain, if I'm understanding this correctly.
Because they really don't like
Would
a lot of
remain
times.
with you. It is a Franklin Main Street program account, correct?
That's what
Is
I
that
want to make
correct?
sure. Because these savings do come from
And-
my address. So.
Okay, I need to get an approval on that motion. So we have a motion and a second, and do we have any further discussion?
Do we have an idea about not just the balance, but how much will be turned over to the town for the festival?
She
Do
has
we
something
know
here.
the financial
It's,
situation?
typically Deere doesn't, there's a certain amount
You got it in your
allotted
thing?
to each
I
festival.
don't know if we're supposed to do that now.
Well, if people are asking on the board, I think it should be,
Dig in there and
there's nothing we're hiding.
talk about it.
I'm
Sure.
not hiding.
No, I don't mean you, but I mean, you know,
And
somebody's.
and while you're doing that, let me answer Joyce's question on the minutes, because I know you did not have minutes this month, but that was because one of the resignations involved your secretary,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh,
the minutes were not provided. Okay.
thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to address that to make sure you understood why
Okay.
you didn't get minutes this month.
This would be good, though, Christy and I could get together, because one of the things that we've been working on we can separate the festivals and events, because one thing I was actually going to share with the board, some good news, was we've kind of been working for 4th of July to try and expand that, to see where we can, since there's some maybe other events that we may have been losing, to try and embrace getting more financial support throughout the town of Franklin and downtown. So we've been looking at a couple things for July 4th, and if you guys will recall at our February work session, Tony and I had mentioned that we had some things in the workings that we'd like to bring to your attention, and a couple of things, which is good news for July 4th, is we're looking at maybe some roving characters. And Tony, if you want to touch a little bit more.
Yeah.
Are you going to be a roving character?
Yeah.
He has a roving character.
I am a roving character.
We have several characters now.
I'm like the roving character of Main Street now. No, we will have some roving characters this year. We're trying to do, as we do with all the other festivals, and has been done with them, is to give them a bit of a theme. And so this one's going to be our All-American 4th of July celebration. And there'll be a superhero here, I can tell you that. And someone else that does balloon art, who walks the streets and makes Uncle Sam's and hats and all kinds of things. So it's the beginnings of making it a festival of the scale of Pumpkin Fest is what it is. But as with any festival, you have to grow that.
Right.
So we're taking baby steps to try to grow that festival. So that's one of the things that we're working on for the day of July the 4th, and extending it by 1 hour, 10 to 2. And because we have to, well, here's the thing. We have 2 events on July the 4th. The Chambers events start at 3 at the park. So we want to give folks ample time to enjoy downtown. But we also want to
Let them get the.
not butt heads and compete with the Chamber on
Yeah,
their.
that's all they do.
I just don't think that's good business to try to go head to head with them on something, since they have a well-established event. And especially since Miss Judy sits on their board, she might cut my internet off if I were to consider that. So I'm just joking.
You can see the
So that's-
captain in passing of gray hair.
So we've tossed out a bunch of other ideas, and we still have time to implement many of those. It's just to see,
We're looking at
again,
again, July
funding
3rd.
is the big thing. Pardon me?
July 3rd, we're looking at expanding.
And July 3rd, and may I say who gave us the idea? Mr. Mayor approached Summer, and Summer asked if I could come and meet with them, and I did. And on July the 3rd, on the evening of, it's really not final yet,
It's not
because
final.
all we've done is put a deposit down just in case. But it looks like it's just in case. So, but we will have, or we had hoped to have, and I guess now we will have, a free concert downtown at 7:30, featuring blues legend Mac Arnold and Plate Full of Blues. And we're going to call it an evening of red, white, and blues in downtown Franklin. And we're going to be approaching merchants, encouraging them to stay open. We're also going to be approaching our restaurants in town and asking them if they can have a meal to go in case people want a picnic while they listen to the music, so they don't have to bring things with them. And that's a night that doesn't compete with anyone else. And Mac Arnold is, in the blues community, is very well known. His guitar is old blues style. It's made out of a gas can. The way blues used to be played when they couldn't afford instruments. It's made out of a gas can. It's really cool, and his backup guys are great. He plays everywhere. I think the last closest performance was Asheville. Is that right? So did you, Mr. Mayor, you went to see him there, right?
Yeah, he and I are cousins.
You did one of those,
They're cousins.
They're very-
So anyway, that is something for July the 3rd. Again, you know, the thing here is trying again to recoup some of the business lost from the other festivals' postponement till next year. So, it was the hopes that on July the 3rd, there's always a huge number of visitors in Franklin. This gives them something to do. It gives our merchants in downtown a chance to showcase themselves and to maybe even offer some special sales. It gives our restaurants an opportunity to showcase themselves. And heavens knows, we have a great variety of food. Would you be willing to do a box carry out and stay open? There we go. So Martha has Rosebud College, of course. So you can help me spread the word, okay? Okay, and Mossy Rock will stay open?
Absolutely.
Okay, there's two things we've got open on July the 3rd. So,
It's really good out there.
and so, and it adds a new flavor of something to Franklin that we've never had before. There's never been, when you associate the mountains, you oftentimes think of us as bluegrass country, or, paddle faster, I hear the banjo kind of thing going on. That was a joke again. It was a bad one. Sorry. But this adds a new element of a musical experience to the culture here, and I think folks will really enjoy it. And besides, it's free. Come out for a free evening. Now we're going to try to work on a rain plan to go with this. We're going to try to. That's one step that is. That had not been approached, so we're going to have to work on a rain plan to see what we can do with that. But we will work on that. But those were the plans that we were going to share with you all on July the 3rd and 4th. And does that sound good to everyone?
Sounds great.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of fun myself. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for a great idea. Any other?
I still think we need to give the checkbook balance because so Ken and Judy can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was filled in on that.
No, that's fine,
Please don't
that's
start listening
fine.
to me.
Just,
While
they
she's
don't
doing it,
know,
I'm going to
so,
grab some more water. Excuse me.
We have $3.
Okay, very good. Thank you for holding tight to the budget.
We have $20,161.80.
And do we know how much of it was earmarked for festivals?
I was never told what was what.
And that's maybe where you and I could
That's
sit
what
down,
we have to
Christine,
go
and look
over.
at I don't care, help you with the statements.
Well, you're going to have part of the balance in there too from a bench that we had to pay half down on that someone donated. What's pronounced their last name? Okay. The D'Onofrio is called a bench. Go in front of the Bleed Historical Museum. Is that correct?
It is, and his mother was Daisy D'Onofrio.
Yes.
Oh, that's Silas, okay.
Yeah.
So
But there's
at least
there is a
$600 which will be half of the bench, is still in there. That's going to need to be paid out for that. I believe it's going to ship at the end of this month. We just heard back from them that the bench is going to ship at the end of this month. So,
Tony, I'm assuming that in the absence of the chair of the board, you will be completing whatever paperwork we need to complete to go inactive, and that to the extent the board needs to take any other action, you'll reconvene us to do that.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. I will, and two, will keep you all informed via email as to the process and to the outcome of the state as well, because it's going to take, a few days. And you folks, you and Judy enjoy the Main Street Conference. It is. You'll enjoy meeting Liz and Teresa and all the other folks. I've known Teresa Watts for years, worked with her. That she's been with NC Commerce for a long time, and Teresa and I have worked together, oh my gosh, ever since my days at the Chamber. She's been with them 21 years or something like that, I believe Teresa's been with them. And you'll enjoy Liz and all the other ladies that work
Well, it's
with her.
great talking to the other Main Street programs.
Well, I think too, the biggest thing is you'll get to meet a lot of the other town managers, you'll
And
get to meet mayors.
take a look at Morganton's new initiatives that they've been doing. One of their big things, and I know that you all have been approached about this. I know that I've been talked to several times about it. Is the sprucing up the alleyways, and they've turned their alleyways into little art galleries. Really a cool experience. Yes, and so this will give you an opportunity to see another Main Street town, a town that's larger than Franklin, of course, but to see what other folks are doing. So you will really enjoy that.
I have a friend that has a business there. She's very happy with the Main Street program.
Oh, yes.
Because she's way out of the way, and she's very well included on everything.
Yes, yeah.
They include everybody.
Oh, yeah, they have a top-notch program. It's had an opportunity to meet most of the state directors and some of the state town managers in Waynesville last fall, and when Waynesville hosted that particular conference. And there are a lot of good Main Street people, and they're there to help you all. So, all right. Anything else? To Judy? I saw the finger raised.
Your motion's still on the floor. We need to-
Oh, did we not vote yet? Thank you. What were we voting on? Oh, Ken on the checking account. Thank you for reminding me. Again, I apologize. I've had this respiratory thing for about 12 days now, and I'm addled. So we have a motion from Sissy, and we need a second, right? And Judy seconded it, or?
Joyce, I thought she did, but okay.
Who seconded?
Whoever, I did.
Yes.
Okay, Joyce seconded. Thank you for bringing me back on track here, Judy. And Joyce seconded. Any further discussion on that?
No.
Okay, all in favor, again, signify by raising your right hand. All right, and that is a unanimous decision as well. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. I start saying.
Adjourn. Second.
Motion to adjourn, and it's been moved and seconded. Everybody's in favor, I'm sure.
Aye, aye.
All right, thank y'all.
This is some of the, this is Sharon.